We have
369 in the PowerPoint.
okay 69, 369, right? So now, what distinguishes the human race from less evolved life forms in the normal kingdom is what human beings have intelligence and the capacity for creature thinking. So then we also have to know the human beings has more intelligent than comparing to the animals. Mm, that's reason not simply content with the fluting attainment of food and clothing. We are looking for something deeper, thinking about how to attain our lasting happiness. If the animals, then they just only think about the eating or to get the food for themselves. And we are so human beings, not only we look for the food and the clothes. So we have to look something different, like thinking about how to attain everlasting happiness. We have to find that, look to that. Otherwise, we are not much difference from the animals. The animals also knows how to take care of themselves, and we are human being. We have more intelligent, so we have to look something permanent happiness. We should really rely on the wisdom that realizes absolute nature in order to realize the view of selflessness. Mm, So then we have to create like rely on the wisdom means like we just uh, study Dharma, and we study Dharma we get wisdom. So if we get wisdom, then uh, the nature in order to realize the view of selflessness beyond our extremes. The reason is that without the wisdom that realize absolute nature, where nature we will not be able to completely uproot the three types of suffering. So without the wisdom, and then we cannot so uproot this suffering. The absolute nature will not be able to completely uproot the three types of suffering. So three types of suffering. I think you know the suffering of suffering, change of suffering, pervasive of suffering. So that's the three suffering all sentient beings has. Long as we have these three sufferings, we don't have permanent happiness. So without wisdom, we were not able to completely uproot the three types of suffering. If we, of course, we can create like something positive, virtuous deeds, uh, kind of like subtle, down, or just temporarily free from suffering, not permanently free from suffering, without the wisdom. That is why we must study the meaning of interdependence origination to understand the meaning of selflessness. That's why so we have to study the Dharma. When we study Dharma, we have to understand the interdependent. Uh, so we know the interdependent origination, understand the meaning of selflessness. So we know that everything's interdependent, then we recognize self is not exist. Self, then we recognize selflessness of a person, selflessness of phenomena. If we don't know the interdependent, uh, then we cannot understand the selflessness of a person and the selflessness of phenomena. So that's the reason we have to study Dharma, have to understand interdependent. So this is like the right now is going to teaching in the philosophy. Most important is we have to understand the interdependent. So before the Buddha and many religions in India, many teachers, very famous teachers, so the talks, everything is like, uh, self or permanent. Then no one talk about is a selflessness of a person, selflessness of phenomena. No one talk is interdependent of origination. So that's the reason Buddha is, we say, scientist means Buddha teaching, essence teaching is interdependent. So that is a view. And conduct is, of course, like followed by culture, followed by just, and also individual, the different ways, like, followed by individual practicing. But this view is the absolute truth that talk about reality. And that's the reason here, this right now is we're going into the interdependent of that, then the Buddha's teaching. So that teaching is no one taught before Buddha, only taught about this teaching is Buddha. So the interdependent, then all this generation stage, visualize meditations. The problem is, we don't know the interdependence, then we don't know all these generation stages too. And we don't know the absolute truth teaching. So that's why we need certain clarity. Regarding the subtle and grosser levels of selflessness as they are presented according to the different philosophical systems. So if we wanted to understand this interdependent, then we have to study these different philosophicals. And we study this different philosophical system, then we will understand this interdependent. That's the reason I share here is it's different kind of religions. I will be briefly explain the different assertions here. So there are two kinds of philosophy. Actually, of course, so many different kind of the philosophy, the different schools followed by different ways philosophy. So here is the main point is there are two kinds of philosophy. One bring on outlook on life that a person has naturally without relying on religions, study, or philosophical exposure. So the first one is they never study any philosophy. They don't follow any specific religions. So that is the first one. Bring on outlook on life that a person has naturally without rely on religions, no studies or philosophical expose. They don't change anything their own mind. Just no one talk about anything. This different religions. There other there are kind of many people like that in the world. They don't follow any religions. They just follow the usually what people says. and not rely on any religion. So then another one is in other words, this refer to a view a person has when he or she does not study any particular philosophy. So the first one is uh, I say this both the same. So in other words, this refers to a view a person has when he or she does not study, never study any particular philosophy. The other kind is one that changes the mind. Change the mind means like who already studied philosophy, a philosophy that one arrives at after studying and pondering. So then, in example of the first kind, on all law of an unchanged mind. The first one is they don't change their mind. They don't follow any specific religions. They didn't change any their mind. They just uh, what they has like what they believe. Just they follow that. And they don't change yet anything followed by the religion. So then uh, the first kind of all law on unchanged mind is the cause case of someone who has never listened to own study or ponder the teaching at all, and who does not question or examine anything more deeply. So this person's basic outlook or philosophy is simply the drive to accomplish pleasure and happiness in the present life. The so that person is only just thinking about this life. They don't think future life, and they don't follow the religions. So that kind of many beings, of course, like then not only human being, all the animals like that. The second category refers to someone whose mind is committed to a belief system based on studying relevant scripture or applying mental analysis. So that second part is like person who uh, follow the flow system, flow. I mean, they follow the religions. Mm, so then uh, there are many non-Buddhist schools, but to name a few here. So actually, there's so many different kind of non-Buddhist. Usually, they talk about 65 religions, non-Buddhist. Actually, the 360 something non-Buddhist philosophy, and then they all subsumed to 60. So then they're subsumed to the five. Major is five. So then that's also go into the subsumed to the two categories. So all branches is a lot, many. Uh, I think there's a 365 branch, many different non-Buddhist religions. So then there's this come down and the 60. Then the come down is 5. Then come down is two categories, subsumed or is a subsumed to the two. So there are the tradition of actually here's the I put a couple different names. This is called the five. Actually, here has five. So this is 60, 360 is come down to the 60, 60 is come into the five. So this five is a majority, no Buddhist. This five is the ancient time, long time during the Buddha time in India. So this five, I think, religions exist. So Nagarjuna and Shakti, they were debating with this or this no Buddhist. They mention about this kind of You know here what I mean, put in the names. So these religions are the traditions of Vaishnavism, Shaivism, Jainism, Samcha, and Shivakism. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See this 5 is there's 5. Uh, so then the last one follow the extreme view of nihilism. So this last one is uh, Shavakism. Shavakism is nihilism. Then become this 5 is subsumed going to the two categories. The last one is nihilism. Other or is internalism. Traditions of internalistic views generally teach the so see the last is this no Buddhism is nihilism, Shavakism is nihilism. So other this first 4 is uh, the first 4 is followed by the internalism. Then internalism actually has a good conduct too. Traditions of internalistic views generally teach the importance of engaging in moral conduct and obtaining from sin or no virtue, and they have many positive features, including encouraging the cultivation of optimism and compassion and such. Uh, so this first 4, the religion, the first 4 is not too bad actually. They all has a conduct part. Is many good in there too. So when Buddha uh, come to India, that time also many conduct part similarity. This first 4, this religions, first 4 conduct part, but not view. View is not same. So this all this no Buddhist is here about 5 different systems. They all is nihilism, internalism. So Buddhism is free from nihilism, free from internalism. So Buddhists talk about interdependent, and this first one, nihilism. Actually, they don't accept. They accept only this life. Nihilism, accept only this life. But then they say we have to do something like they do some I think pray for their something that God, and they follow there's some they have something systems. Uh, so the main point, they don't think about future life. They say no future life. So when we die, same is like the butter lamp is exhaust. So same like that. They accept that. The why they don't accept future, because the reason they say we don't see future life is not exist. The reason is we don't see past life. No, because we don't see. We see only this life. We don't see other ones, so they don't accept. Uh, so that's actually the nihilism. They don't have good logic, and if you don't see, then there is no exist. Then we don't see tomorrow. Tomorrow is not exist for them. We don't see and anything in your stomach. Right now, your eye cannot see anything in the what you have in the stomach, your stomach. So then they also not exist, right? So you stay right now at your home, so you don't see the other countries. Then other countries not exist. So that's why this Buddhist philosophers, also other in this non-Buddhist philosopher, everyone denied this nihilism because the reason is incorrect. They say they don't have future life. The reason is we don't see future life. Uh, so then this other one has many good conduct part. Other this four, this first four has a good conduct. This conduct part is also some is very similarity with Buddhist. Uh, so then of course this there's also has a different this first four internalism. They are all is not same. They also talk different. They have lots of difference inside their views. When we study Buddhist philosophy, we have to learn this one by one. What this where this religion come from, what they says, why they say that, why they believe that, why they follow that, then there how many followers them, and so what they did, what they get that result when they follow that religion. So that kind of all is in the more details in the philosophy we have to study. When we in the Sheda study the Buddhist philosophy, this all the religions, what the views we all have to study one by one. So usually, like example in the Sheda, we talk about it. One day is Vishavanism, one day Shivaism, one day Jainism, like that. Like it would take long time. First, we just knows what they says and learn the histories. So then after, the Buddhist philosophy who debating with it, then why, who debated with it, then which part is correct, which part is incorrect. So then the why is the Buddhist philosopher is correct. So they all is comparing study. Mm, that reason is like long time to study these areas, but here it's only just the names. However, they believe in intrinsic and internal self and a creator or lord of the world. So this uh, internalism, the problem is they believe in intrinsic and internal self. They say self is permanent, self is exist. So that's the problem. And then also creator or lord of the world. Uh, so then creator gods also they accepted. So these two things is the Buddhist no accept. Main point is like this is like part of the view, not only conduct. Conduct. That is part is not conduct. That is part is like view. So Buddhists don't accept self and internal self. We don't accept the internal self, intrinsic and internal self, and we don't accept the creator or lord of the world. So if you have intrinsic and internal self, you cannot liberate. Not possible to you get liberation if self is permanent. Why we say liberation? Liberation means like selflessness of a person, selflessness of phenomena. Must have to have that realization, realize. Then we can get liberate ahara or Buddhahood. So the both is selflessness of a person, selflessness of phenomena, If we accept and the intrinsic and the internal self, and then create a lot of world, it's not possible to uh, get liberation. The second class I will discuss here is the Buddhist tradition. So Buddhist tradition, who is the Buddhist? The Buddhist is to belong to the Buddhist class. One goes for refuge from one's heart in the three jivas. So who take the refuge to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, that is the Buddhist. So also this and the talk about here is the intrinsic and internal self. Who accept that is non-Buddhist, who don't accept that is Buddhist. Sometimes we say that, but that also sometimes that not enough, because some Buddhists also accept internal self too, you know. So that's the reason this refuge is the more biggest, like kind of like makes the difference is Buddhist and non-Buddhist. The purveyor of Buddhism, the Lord of Buddha, then who take refuge to Buddha, who follows the Buddha. So that is the Buddhist, and told us to obtain from causing harm to others, and refuted the existing of a permanent singular free will possessing self. So that is the Buddhist. Buddhist is like who take refuge to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and who follow the Buddha, and then also uh, who abstain from causing harm to others. That is the conduct, and refuted the existing of a permanent singular. So that is a view, free will possessing self. So Buddhist like conduct is no harming for other beings. Buddhist view is, uh, you know, uh, here is the refuted the existence of a permanent singular free will possessing self. So that is the just generally Buddhist like means. View is, not accept any permanent. Conduct is no harming for others. There are four major levels within Buddhism. Buddhism also has four different major levels within the Buddhism. Lord Buddha first give rise to bodhicitta. So then this, where is the Buddhist come from? The Buddhist come from is the Buddha. Lord Buddha, he did like first he give rise to bodhicitta, then proceeded to gather to accumulation in the middle. So first, Buddha first, he did mind generation, Second, he created accumulation merit. Gathered the two accumulations in the middle, and finally manifested attainment of a perfection Buddhahood. Before the gathering of the first five human disciples. So then Buddha has become enlightened. When he shared the Dharma teaching, he has five disciples. He turned the way of the Dharma of the Four Noble Truths in Varanasi. So he taught teaching, first teaching is called Four Noble Truths. That teaching he shared in the Varanasi. Those who follow after the meaning of the first turning of the way of the Dharma, and who take those teaching as the ultimate sermon of Buddha, are said to belong to the foundational yana of Buddhism and are known as Shavakas. They belong to the two schools of Vibhashika and Satantrika. So where this the four Buddhist philosophers come from. This is all is come from follow the Buddha's. The four of them follow the Buddha's teaching. So no say first the when Buddha enlightenment after he share Four Noble Truth teaching, the teaching is a basic teaching and the ground teaching. Who follow that, they take that teachings in the sermon, and that follower is called Vibhashika and the Satantarika. So actually, of course, Chitta Matera, Mayaminka also accept that teaching. They don't deny that the teaching is that Buddha didn't talk. They follow that too, but then they say Buddha talked more than that. Not only that. These two said only Buddha taught this teaching. They don't accept other teachings. Do you understand? So now you're really study Buddhism like me, you know, basic teachings. we kept going in the study kindergarten again. You know, we already grudge and come back to again, go back to grudge, come back again. We already went through all the way, Pardo and Mahamudra, you know, then come back again in the philosophy first level. Okay. So this as the automatic some of Buddhists are said to belong to the foundational yana of Buddhism are known as the Shivaka, and they belong to the two schools of Vibhashika and the Satantarika. This two also has a little bit different. There, if followed by what the Vibhashika say, what Satantarika says, and they are kind of similarity scientists. The scientists also like I heard, but I don't know. This Tibetan Buddhist philosopher says, and these two is like kind of similar. It's like long term ago philosophers. No, long term ago scientists. No, this time scientists. Like kind of maybe at least like 40, 50 years ago scientists things. These two things it cannot be everything is emptiness. So these two, what the main point says, you know, something need permanent. Otherwise, cannot be in this world. There cannot be this body, cannot be have a mind. That need something cause, permanent cause. So they look in the where this all come from. They're found part of particles. There's a part of particle is permanent, very subtle level part of particles. So that's create together. Then this all this phenomena like you know compound of phenomena is arising. Without this subtle part of particles, then we cannot have this you know form bodies, physical bodies. So that thing need something cause. The cause is like subtle level cause that must be permanent. So I heard that some scientists say like that kind of similarity. Maybe you know. So some maybe scientists say like very part of a particle is permanent, something like that. So these two accepted as part of particle is permanent. These two also like they have like little bit subtle, slightly different. Vibhashika and Satantarika. I think Vibhashika is a little bit more, you know, beginner than Satantarika. Satantarika is like hearing like more little bit deeper. So that too is actually followed by the Buddha's first teaching. So their first teaching is a basic teaching. Yeah. And then in Rajiga or virtual peg, during the middle turning of the wheel of Dharma, Buddha talked the Dharma beyond characteristic to the disciple of sharp faculties. So then Buddha talked the teaching is the beyond the characteristic means everything is emptiness. Told the Dharma beyond characteristic. to the disciple of Socrates. It's more education, like, you know. Then these two, right now we're talking about here too. These two conduct is not much difference. Of course, a little different. Uh, the second, like Buddha shared this in the Rajiga teaching. So that is Mahayana, more focus for compassion and love and bodhicitta practice. First, other is like more focus for no harming for others. So it's just also like individual level. This two is level, individual level. We can be like first Hinayana, we can be Mahayana. That's I already shared long time ago. Because when you have to look ourselves, think about, it's our practice, like our abilities, like we can stop for harming for others. That time is we are Hinayana. When comes like compassion, love for others, have compassion to other beings, then we really wanted to become Buddha. The reason is wanted to benefit others. That kind, intention we have, then we are Mahayana. So that is like actually uh, have to follow by individual level. So then this two is of course view is different. View is like first one is just recognize impermanent, understanding impermanent. They don't accept emptiness. They're also first to understand selflessness of a person, but they don't accept the selflessness of phenomena. Uh, so that kind of difference in the view. Then the Raja gave a chopek during the mirror turning of the wheel of Dharma. Buddha taught the Dharma beyond characteristic to the disciple of Socrates. Those who taught that the meaning of that as the autonomic sermon and follow that are known as Mahayanas. That is Mahayana. They belong to the two schools of Rantong, self-empty middle-way school, and the Yintong or other empty middle-way school. So two schools. This when Buddha taught teaching in the second turning, they have two different followers. So actually this both is Mayamika philosopher. Mayamika philosopher. So Rantong means self-empty middle way school, and Yintong means other empty middle way school. But these two is not in India has these names. The teaching has this kind of teaching is that term has, but they don't have the names like self-empty. They don't say during in the India self-empty and other empty. These two words is like when in Tibet philosophers put these labels names. So self-empty and other empty middle way. Then I know in the Tibetan, these four different lineages, five Buddhist different lineages. So they follow this two. It's they accept four different ways. Some is follow self-empty, some is follow other empty middle way. So then there's big debating each other. Some is accept both. Some say both is same, no much difference. So that kind of these areas. It's a lot complicated actually topic this section, but it's philosophers very interesting. So they just focus in this area is like put to add lot effort, the debating, and the write books and their whole life just follow these two topics and they spend time whole life for these two because they just think is like my view is correct. Then some who follow self-empty that try to proving that self-empty is correct, other is not correct. Other empties that their thing is self-empty is incorrect, that they try to proving other empty. So then they use of course this Buddha's quote. They use Nagarjuna and all this Nalanda University, this scholars court. So they're debating. The just whole life follow like that. Okay. Uh, so actually, self-empty is like Satya is a self-empty, yellow is a self-empty, Nyingma is a kind of a both, Kaju is a kind of a little bit both, but Nyingma is more self-empty, but they also accept the other empty too. Kaju is like kind of both, self-empty, other empty. Then Tibet has another tradition called Chonang. Chonang is like 100% other empty. So the Chonang tradition, then the Gelo tradition, Satya tradition, these three is mostly is in there is complicated. They're debating lots. So the Gelo, they say self-empty. They're claimed that they are self-empty. Then they said the who accept other empties. They say they are no Mayamika. They don't accept they are Mayamika teaching. So then who's other empty accept that? Then they're debating with who accept the self-empty is like kind of a nihilism. They say don't accept that. There's a lot of debating there. Uh, so Kaju tradition, Yama tradition, these philosophers like it's like kind of okay. There is no really big problems. It's very similar. Only just big confused. It is like don't understanding the nature mind has empty aspect and clarity aspect. So that too is like must have to understand and inseparable. If you know that, then no need to debating. So who talk about clarity aspect? That is other empty. Who talk about emptiness aspect? They talk about self empty. So that's some Kaju and Nima. These philosophers said this that said that not much difference. They just cannot attach to their own. Even who says other empty, they cannot say because the Buddha nature is permanent. Buddha nature is they cannot say Buddha. Even the Buddha nature is permanent. Permanent is not really permanent. It's opposite of impermanent. Something different permanent. Different permanent means like our mind nature has uh, clarity aspect. The clarity aspect is sometimes the other empty say that is a permanent. That is a Buddha nature. That is a permanent, always there. But actually, our mind clarity aspect is always there. You can say permanent, but that is empty. That nature is empty. Nature empty is clarity aspect. That is always there. That's why you can put a label is permanent, but that is emptiness. They have to know that. If you that knows that, then there's no any debating, no problem. There solve problem, but they don't accept that. They say just the Buddha nature is permanent. Then there's some other Gelo tradition, of course, the empty, but empty. Okay, you can accept that. They're also not only in empty, no nothingness. There is a clarity aspect. Clarity aspect is all Buddha nature. It's always there. Always clearly, presently there. So if you take that, then you don't have any kind of like essence of mind. You falling in the empty, nothing there. So that's why have to both have to understanding. What is the main point. Cannot have to falling two side. So that's the some you not falling to self empty, others empty, just to follow truth. I think I like that one. They should share that teaching. So Nima is Mapam is a very famous philosopher. He also wrote the other empty middle way, and other empty middle way book he wrote. He just exactly put it that way. Other other empty middle way is correct teaching, Buddha's teaching, but it's just other empty means like mind nature is clarity. So that is the Buddha nature aspect, one part of aspect. So that is always there. You can say that is permanent, but the reason is because always there. So then all other is empty. It's okay to you say that. So uh, anyway, this uh, clarity aspect also emptiness, not permanent. Not opposite of the impermanent. Okay, so I don't go to more deeper there. Otherwise, everyone going to sleep. Don't sleeping, okay? I have tea here, so anyone need a tea? If you have realized emptiness, you can get my tea. Chanda Kirti, he can, remember, can draw the milk. He can get milk from the draw cow. So that is the sign over here has realized emptiness. So if you have realized emptiness, you can get my tea. Okay, so don't go sleep, okay? So now, in Vishali, okay, I want to also clarify here, other empty middleware is also like Jigdin Sumgo more follow other empty middleware. That's our thought. Jigdin Sumgo's Gonchek teaching is more still he just put like other empty middleware. But not same is like who traditionally other empty middleways like Chonang tradition, their thing is like everything is permanent. It's Buddha nature is permanent. So Jigten Songgon they don't say exactly like that. But Jigten Songgon just other empty middleway because the Buddha nature he more explain is a clarity aspect. Focus that in Vishali and other indefinite places during the final turning of the wheel of Dharma. So then another place is called Vishali. Buddha spent these areas many years in the Vishali, also Sharavasti. In the Sharavasti, Vishali, there and other indefinite places. So during the final turning of the wheel of Dharma, so Buddha taught the Dharma distinguishing previous shunar and definitive teaching to disciple of diverse faculties. So that teaching, the last section teaching is like focus for diverse faculties means giving many different kind of teachings. Just not only Mahayana, not only Vinayana, Hinayana, not just only other empty, not only self-empties. They're giving different kind of teachings. Those who talk from the sermon that the atomic teaching is the laying phenomena only mind belong to the chitta mattering or mind only is God. Mm-hmm. So then do say in the during this time the last teaching the phenomena only mind. Buddha said all this whole thing is everything is mind. So when Buddha said that all this whatever this appearance is not actually exist externally, everything is mind projected. So all is our mind. Then the who accept that, that means like belong to chitta mattering or mind is God. Those who talk from that sermon that automate is the lame mind. They say, oh, that is the truth teaching. That is the absolute truth teaching. Everything's mind. Mind exists. Mind is permanent. All this external, auto level, nothing is exist. So the Chitta Matira has become another score, come from using that word, following that way. Those essences, then Buddha also there, go another step again. The another step is like mind, those essences empty. Then Buddha said another step teaching is mind also emptiness. Uh, and those nature is luminosity. That they also the mind nature is luminosity. Provides all sentient beings. So belong to the Yindong school of Mayamika. So that's also Yindong come from. Actually, Yindong first start and come from that way. The Buddha's last teaching, and the Buddha's last teaching, first step, they have like two steps in the last teaching. Has the first step, Buddha said everything's belong to mind. So they say, okay, that's it. I follow that. That is Chitta Matara. Then Buddha said, mind also kind of like no exist. So then the mind is like nature is a luminosity, provides all sentient beings. Then that is like kind of a Yindong tradition, belong to the Yindong school of Mayamika. So that Yindong is called actually great Yindong. Other part is like Yindong is like not great Yindong, like kind of like just mm, we call the usually in the when we share the philosophy white Yindong and the black Yindong like that. Just put the label, the name. You know, uh, who follow this way, that's we call white Yindong is like kind of correct one. So that is the also Jigten Sunggun's view. I think exactly follow that way. Is Kaju Yindong is like follow that one. And if the mind is permanent, then they don't accept emptiness. Mind is emptiness. The just only thing is permanent mind. That is not incorrect. That is like black Yindong. So who follow this way is called white Yindong. Okay, that's the name. When we share the philosophy, we use that word. Uh, the letter, see, the letter is Jigten Sunggun's possession and belong to the definitive teaching of the third turning of the world. See, Jigten Sunggun take this third turning the world Dharma is absolute, absolute definitive teaching. So then third also have two steps, you see, Chitta Matira level, and another step is mind also empty. Empty is luminosity. So that is the also called Yintong, but it's not just a regular Yintong. This is like really good Yintong, great Yintong. And that is a Jigten Sunggun said, that is the absolute truth teaching, definitive teaching of the third turning of the world. Uh, I give a clear explanation of this in my commentary, Gonchek Gondon, meaning of awakening view of the Gonchek. So this section is Jigten Sunggun is followed by this last, you know, uh, this Buddha's the turning of the Dharma, and the Jigten Sunggun, except that is the definitive teaching, means absolute truth teaching. So I explained that is the we have a book with Gonche Gondung, meaning of the waking of view of the Gonche. So I explain more about this views in that teaching there. So that section is a more complicated part, but it's very interesting to study actually. If you really, sometimes like, okay, first you listening right now, we just told kind of, sharing this short time, you don't really get into that much. But when you go really into the Sheda study, then step by step, this one by one, then everyone is more interested. So always the debating, lots of debating going on. But then actually also, that is I learned from the mostly and the Nima Kaju, this philosopher shared us, but I really don't know 100% what kind of Chonang, right? No, the Chonang tradition is like it's followed by the other empty. Then what we said, the other empty is like exactly what their own teachers, what they're saying is I don't know much. Just I learn from the books, I don't hear from exactly there from their teacher. So that is I just get from the books, other empty, self empty. Do you get or no? Anyone has any questions?
Yes, Kempola, I do have a
Yes.
question. Right. I have to admit I'm really confused at this point. I thought I understood this, but now I'm very confused. So, could I ask to clarify? First of all, in the last turning of the wheel, the third turning of the wheel, Buddha, if I'm paraphrasing, of course, so Buddha taught that whatever you see, all phenomena are from your mind. Because your mind kind of made up what you see, so therefore all phenomena are empty, but only your mind perception creates what you see. Secondly, your mind itself is also empty and therefore is luminous or luminosity.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so then going back to the emptiness debate and the permanence debate. So
Yes.
nature, mind. Okay, first of all, everything that you can see, all phenomena are also emptiness. However, Buddha nature, which is the consciousness of the mind, is permanent, but it is not permanent in the sense of permanent that we see in things, but permanent in the sense that it exists, but itself is also empty. Therefore, it's not against, it's not opposite to impermanence. So mind, while the Buddha nature mind, while it is there all the time, it is not impermanent because it itself is empty. That's the part where I have confusion about the permanence of Buddha nature mind. Buddha nature mind is there all the time, but it's not permanent. And it is also not impermanent. It is inconceivable. And therefore, you cannot debate that Buddha mind is permanent or impermanent because it
Okay,
itself
so
is.
yeah, which I just shared these different philosophers understanding different levels. So which one you talking about? Like just pick up one like which tradition. So then I can give answer. Otherwise, like you just talking about like Buddha nature is like permanent or impermanent. So the Jigten Sumgung view is the last part. It means like that is the we proving, final proving. It's mind's auto level of phenomena is empty. Actually, this all phenomena emptiness. The reason is mind projected this. The mind self also emptiness. Mind self is luminosity. So that means like mind also not really permanent. So that's we follow that. That is the Jigten Sumgung view. Okay. So then other.
Okay, so then Buddha nature is the mind. So Buddha nature is emptiness, based on Jigten Sumgung's middle explanation.
Yes.
Therefore, you cannot say that Buddha nature is permanent or impermanent. It is inconceivable.
So, that's actually correct to say like what you just said, exactly like that. But even you can say permanent because it's the reason is the always there. So that's why you can say permanent. Whatever you put the label is like you can say permanent, but permanent is no opposite of the impermanent.
Correct, right? Because I think using the word Buddha nature mind permanent is misleading. So therefore, to me, I understand it as it's neither permanent nor impermanent. It is inconceivable. It is luminosity. It is clarity. It is emptiness. So it's inconceivable.
Yes. So
So is that the correct understanding? Okay.
That is the Jigten Sumgong view.
Okay.
That is our view. So
okay,
and,
thank you. I was so confused.
No chitta matira view. Okay, no chitta matira, and also other empty. If accept like that, they are okay. So they are great, but they don't accept really that thing. Buddha nature is permanent. You know, other everything is emptiness. Buddha nature is only permanent. So they accept that, then they are incorrect there.
Very limited, right? Yes. If we just say it's neither permanent nor impermanent, then that I think clarifies it very well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So that is correct, right? Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You're welcome. Okay. So everyone get up, exercise. Otherwise, I can see many people fall asleep. Okay. Inhale. Sit. Get up the chair. Inhale. Exhale. Go like all the way down to touch your touch to your toes, and inhale all the way up in the sky. Exhale. Go all the way down to and is touch to your knees, bend. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Put your heart center and nose. Sit down. Just only get up and sit down. That also helps. Okay, so what are you doing there? Ati, you and the Buddha crystal tree is the same size.
Kempo, I have Jen coming over for lunch. So I messed up a little bit with the time on your teaching. So I'm listening. Okay.
So in summary, all four schools of Buddhism are one insofar as they all teach that phenomena by nature are devoid of inherent self-existence. The main point here is all these Buddhist four different level philosophicals. So these four different philosophicals, you know, right? I already said Vibhashika, Satantrika, Chitta Matira, and the middle way, Mayamika. So Mayamika has two, like self-empty, other empty. So all these four different philosophers, four schools, or this Buddhist, all these four schools, both says, all four of them says, the phenomena by nature are devoid of inherent self-existence. So, however, the dependent origination of the absolute nature sport of there is a suchness itself. So they talk about it, they say their understanding suchness nature, the highest level. Everyone says, I get, understanding, dependent origination of the absolute nature sport of there is a suchness itself. It is the subtle level of interdependence of the aggregates that serves as the basis of imputation. So no is a more difficult section. Hmm. So it's everyone talk about the here's the however means like the interdependent origination of the absolute nature sport of this or suchness itself. Everyone said that, but actually the really who understand interdependence only Maya Minka understanding the subtle level interdependence. Others or is like just coarse level interdependence, gross level interdependence, no subtle level interdependence understand. And this Maya Minka's understanding this subtle level interdependence. It is the subtle level interdependence of the aggregates that serve as the basis of imputation. In other words, the words by establishing this as the basis of reasoning. So use this reasoning, best reason in this other words by establishing this as the basis of reasoning. We said that there is an atomic nature to be actualized, and this is the atomic subtlest level of interdependence. To understand this, first we need to understand. So we have to understand this all the subtle level of interdependence. If we wanted to understand subtle level of interdependence, then we have to understand this. First, we need to understand the interdependent or dependent causation, like more uh, cause and conditions. We have to understand that causation means cause and condition. We have to understand. If we don't know the cause and the conditions, not possible to understanding standard this subtle level interdependent. Subtle level interdependent. To understand dependent causation, we need to understand the interdependent of cause and effect. Simply put, to understand the subtle, we first start by understanding into a crude or gross levels. We have to know gross level first. We have to understand gross level interdependent. Then we know the cause. We know the cause and the effect. Then we know the go subtle level interdependence. So that's the reason here is the we need to understand it on matter in in modern technology. We need to understand it on the material or physical science level, the psychological level, the level of chemistry, and so forth. Even in those fields of science, the doctrine of interdependent origination is incorporated. Mm. So now, here mention about many kind of like in modern terminology. So modern terminology, we need to understand it on the like material or physical science level, the psychological level, the level of chemistry and so forth. That's all is actually interdependent. Whatever I say here, different kind of, the in the modern terminology, whatever here I mentioned about the names. So what they all does, everything is interdependent. So then all phenomena are completely subsumed within interdependent origination. So actually, here is in the modern terminology, mention about a couple different, kind of factories. That's all is like into this field of sense. I think so. the doctrine of interdependent. It's clearly in Tibetan, but I don't know the English. You understand clearly there. Subsumed within interdependent origination. It is for this reason that Metayana said in the Abhisama Alankara. So the main point is whatever they have different kind of, you know, in the modern terminology, you know, the material or physical science levels. So they all, whatever that does, kind of like which kind of companies, which kind of factories, you know, doesn't matter, you know, medical or another different kind of factories, cloth or machines or science or whatever factories, they all is whatever that does, everything is interdependent, you know, nothing is like they have like something independent can do something. Whatever that does, everything is interdependent, follow interdependent. So that's the reason here is the Buddha Metayana said this. Without studying 5 subjects of learning, until becoming adept, even the supreme illustrious one could not have become omniscient. So, what Buddha Maitreya says, without this studying the 5 subjects of learning, if we don't know that until becoming adept, if you don't know that, even the supreme illustrious one would not have become omniscient. If you do know that, you cannot become omniscient wisdom Buddha. So if you are become omniscient wisdom Buddha, you have to understand all these 5 subjects of learning. So you must have to have a knowledge. So that's what Buddha Maitreya says. So this 5 subjects of learning is like ancient tradition, 5 subjects. So the 5 subjects is medical, Sovarigpa, Zorigpa, Sovarigpa, medical, science, Zorigpa, Temarigpa, and what is the Zo, Sowa, Tema, Nandung and there's 5 different subjects. So I don't know how to say this in English, like one by one. So anyway, the main point is what I had talking about. Out of the 5 subjects of learning, if we expand just the field of science, art, or craft, all the creature points of today's terms can be subsumed within this field. So this section is the Buddha Maitreya quote. This quote is when we share the philosophy. All these teachers always use this you know, in this quote. But that time I really don't understand it clearly, because even you don't study all this 5 of this, still you can get realization. But the teachers always said, if you don't know this 5, you cannot become Buddha, because you cannot be omniscient wisdom Buddha. So here is the main point is, when Holiness Dalai Lama, he shared teaching, so he used this quote. Then what he says, all these 5 subjects is interdependent. This 5 subjects is interdependent. If you know the interdependent, you understand this 5 subject. That means you don't have to know one by one. You know, you don't have to know medicals, you don't have to know science, but you just have to know interdependent. Everything is interdependent. So if you know everything is interdependent, then you know or what is the main essence, main point.
Kempo, can I interrupt for just a second? Because I've got in my notes from your last teaching on this, those 5 subjects.
Okay.
The subjects of arts,
Yes.
of grammar, of medicine, logic, and Buddhist philosophy. Those are the 5 subjects.
Okay. Say again. Say again. I didn't get exact.
The arts.
Art is, what is art?
Well, like painting.
Zoripa. Okay. Painting. Art is Zoripa. It's not only painting, whatever you create.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Music. And then the next one is grammar.
Okay.
Being able to
grammar.
Language. And then the next one after that is medicine.
Okay.
And then the one after that is logic.
Okay. That is.
And the last one is Buddhist philosophy.
Yes. So logic is a science. Science.
It's one of the subjects of learning.
Yeah.
It's how we approach learning, by logically taking it apart and putting it back together again, using logic to examine.
Yes. So this all 5 is actually based on the interdependent.
Correct.
Okay. So if you know the interdependent, you understanding this 5 subject. So in what is Buddha material here says, if you don't know interdependent, you cannot become unleashing wisdom Buddha, the main point. So with I talk up there is like some, right now in the modern time terminology, we have a different kind, companies, different kind, factories. They're all is actually interdependent. Everything is interdependent. So think about like science is interdependent. The medicine, whatever we create, that's also interdependent. So everything is interdependent. So where is this Buddha unleashing wisdom arise from? Is understanding, I think, is interdependent. Someone say my name?
Yeah. Are you saying science?
Yeah, science, yes.
Okay. I was thinking you were saying signs, because I was reading about interpreting signs with, like, they found the Panchen Lama because of the signs. But you're saying science, but there's also the portents, like you can recognize reincarnation because of the signs. So I didn't know the difference.
No, that's science. No. Science. Knowledge. Okay. So if we explain just the field of science, art, or craft, all these critical points of today's terms can be subsumed within this field. Because of this, we can see that in order to know Dharma exactly and perfectly, we need to use critical thinking and to analyze with the wisdom of discernment to understand all the many different systems of the Buddhist and non-Buddhist schools of thought. With this basis of understanding, gradually we can ascend to more advanced doctrines, and each time we move to a more involved philosophy, the more profound the view becomes. We just study this one by one. And of course, first we study non-Buddhist, and then the first like basic Buddhist teachings. And then you really graduate again and again, more deeper level going in. So this all is actually, everything is based on the interdependent. You goes more deeper level, and then so you understanding interdependent. So you understand interdependent, then you really understand what means selflessness of a person, selflessness of phenomena. Then you understanding the emptiness. So emptiness, no nothingness. Emptiness means like interdependent. Self, so that's why here is therefore in order to avoid the pitfalls and traps in our view, and to gain certain understanding of the range of subtle and gross meanings of selflessness, it is very helpful if we not only know our own Buddhist philosophy, but all the philosophical tenets and viewpoints of non-Buddhist scholars as well. Both ancient and modern, all the ancient time religions, modern religions. So modern means like right now we have Christians, Muslims, Jews, like that kind of names. Also, we have to know actually, study, and you know all this everything. Then you very clearly you understanding what means interdependent. So that helps like really graduate your mind, and then release all your doubt and the thoughts. Otherwise, we have a kind of a stuck exactly this kind of view, you know. So actually, these other religions really helpful. You know, my Yaminka view is very clear. Same is you know, we have a story like Buddha and David Datta. David Datta help Buddha's qualities more clear and clear. Yeah. So without David Datta, we don't recognize Buddha's qualities, his method, what he using, what he has patience, which kind of compassion he has, we don't recognize. Because David Datta, he doing something, then Buddha's qualities become more clear and clear, recognized. So same like that, these different philosophies, different religions, you learn that, then you another step, you really understand more clear or up to the Mayamika, Buddha's the highest level view. So that's all these different religions, different philosophicals clear up the Buddha's like view. The final view is like interdependent Mayamika view. Without that, we have always have a doubt. So this is all religions has a different kind of doubt. So they say, oh, I have also we have that kind of doubt. They already put that one. Oh, I have this problem. Oh, this is right. Then they're debating, clear up that. Then another doubt, clear up that. So like that, this philosophy systems. And if you really wanted to know my Yamika view, then we have to study this all the views. Then you recognize what means my Yamika. Thus, for the sentient beings who are misled and who are ignorant of the difference and the silent characteristic of the philosophical system, the fourth line of this verses reads, so no, I think we are as well as both, okay. So no, we have to know this all the philosophicals. So the next line is Yom Yanda Ki Lami Chabdeso. Oh, perfect mother, please protect them. Yom Yanda Ki Lami Chabdeso. So here we are pray for all these sentient beings that are wandering down, ignoring us, paths because of ignorance, because of not knowing the antidote to samsaric suffering, which is renunciation, bodhicitta, and the view of interdependent origination. So we are pray, may confused perception arise as wisdom. In other words, we are supplicating this very wisdom itself, the wisdom that knows the automatic truth nature, the authentic path, free from confusion. We are supplicating this wisdom personified in the form of Mother Tara to protect beings and prevent them from entering path of confusion. So that's the third verses of the supplication to Tara. So now we are going into the fourth verses of supplication to Tara. The mindfulness and awareness through meditative experience. So for third subsection, even though the atomic truth is beyond articulation, right? Articulation. The importance of giving rise to mindfulness and awareness through meditative experience is taught. The first line of the fourth verses reads, Topar kawa rangsem, difficult to realize is one's own mind. So the nature of one's own mind is extremely difficult to realize and is beyond framework of an ordinary person's intellect or conceptual mind. In the Uttara Tantra, it is stated. So in the Uttara Tantra says, our mind is very difficult and hard to understand. So also in this root text, it says difficult to realize one's own mind, very hard to understand our mind nature. So extremely difficult to realize. The reason is beyond the framework of ordinary like person's intellect or conceptual mind. So our mind is like intellectual and conceptual mind. So this, nature mind is like beyond in that. So that's why it's very hard to understand, very difficult to know. In the Uttara Tantra says, since it is so subtle, so mind nature is very subtle. It cannot be in object heard and so forth. So this is like, mind nature is subtle. That reason cannot be in object heard, cannot be object of seeing, eye seeing, cannot of the object of the smell and your nose, cannot object of these five senses. The main point is it cannot be object of the five senses. Since it is atomic truth, because this is atomic truth. If the mind nature is a relative truth, then your mind nature is object of the heard, object of the seeing. But the mind nature is not relative truth, it's absolute truth. That's the reason it's atomic truth. It cannot be thought about. Since the Dharmata is performed in ordinary worldly level, meditation and so forth cannot objectively it. Since it is so incredible, subtle, so mind is so subtle level, you cannot hear about it as the topic of ordinary worldly discourse. Actually, we try to bring, our ordinary minds, describe our mind nature, talk about our mind nature, but actually what we talk is cannot really describe the mind nature because it's not our perception. Since it is atomic truth, it is beyond being the subject of ordinary worldly contemplation. Since dharmata is extremely profound, it is cannot be the object of meditation of in ordinary worldly meditation. So this mind nature is cannot be object of meditation of ordinary worldly meditation. So meditation has two different levels: ordinary, worldly meditation, and of course like beyond the ordinary meditation. On this topic, Mahasiddha Telopa said, "I Telopa have nothing to show. If you just see yourself, you will be free." Saying this, Telopa simply whacked Naropa on the head, which his shoe. It is not that the atomic truth is something there that he was unable to show, but rather that the very nature of it is something that cannot be shown because it is beyond language and beyond word and beyond metaphor or symbol. In the press to the mother of Buddhas, the Panjaparimita. So, see, this is the Telopa. He giving the Naropa the teaching. So he kicked the shoes is Naropa's head. So Telopa said, you have to recognize your own, you have to recognize your nature yourself. I cannot show you. Why Telopa cannot show for Naropa? Because there's nothing to show there. It's not something object of to show. It's my nature is the same as like this cup, then I can show you, right? It's see like this. Your mind nature is like that. So my nature is no object. That's why Telopa also cannot show. If something there, if Telopa cannot show that, then Telopa is not skillful teacher, right? If something can show, but he cannot show, that means then Telopa is not skillful teacher, no great teacher. But it's Telopa really cannot show there, nothing to show there. That's the reason he hit shoes for Naropa. Naropa also have to wake up, he recognize what that means. We can introduce, like through the example, mind nature, through the example, but actually really cannot show the nature of mind. So the reason is nature of mind is within us. So you have to recognize your own experience through the meditation. Otherwise, not possible to recognize. And we do the empowerment. Empowerment also try to show this nature, but just only show the symbols, examples. You really cannot show. The empowerment ritual also just pointing, finger pointing the moon, same like that. The empowerment ritual also showing some symbols, then introducing the nature mind. Empowerment ritual, we have a kustor. The kustor is symbolize kind of a natural mind, empty is color is empty is a color. So kind of like recognize natural mind. So that's why it's empowerment. It's showing method, introducing. But actually that also symbol, just symbol, auto level symbol. Inner level, if we have to understand natural mind, we have to meditate. Auto level is only just examples. We finger show the moon. So when we finger show the moon, you cannot look to the finger. You have to look into the moon. So like that. Sometimes the people misunderstand this auto level examples, auto level symbolize, they show the absolute truth, but they don't log the absolute truth. They just log into the examples. They log to the symbols. The same is the like someone pointing the moon, finger showing, but they don't log the moon. They log the finger. So that's kind of, we have problems. So now here is the mother of the Buddhas. In the press to the mother of the Buddhas, the Panchaparamita, when we say Na Sam Jumi, what means Na Sam Jumi? Na Sam Jumi is a Tibetan word. Na Sam Jumi meaning is all beyond articulation, beyond thought, beyond expression. We are not saying there is something there that can be articulated, thought of, or expressed, and that we simply lack the ability to do so. So we don't have ability to introduce, because it's beyond the words, beyond the thoughts. They're not saying there is something there that can be articulated, thought of, or expressed, and that we simply lack the ability to do so. But rather that this nature is itself beyond word, thought, and expression, although such a nature is beyond the conceptual mind of ordinary worldly people like us, during the path. So another method, we have to understand this nature mind. During the path of accumulation, we can focus on the listening to the teaching and contemplate this absolute nature. Listening the teaching, we have to understand, then during the path of approach, we invention this nature in our meditation on the essence of Dharma Dharma. Once we achieve some degree of meditative stability, after that comes the path of seeing. So here is just main point is talking about the our natural mind is beyond the words, but we have a method to understand. We have to, first step is we have to study Dharma, contemplate. So that is in the accumulation path. And then accumulation in the engage, we have understand like kind of framework. You don't really understand fully, but you have idea. You never went to another city, so someone give you a map and you look in the map, you get something in your heads. So you have vision of that city. So that is in the engaging part. We study, investigate in the accumulation part. When we get in the pushing into the engaging part, we get to map and something in the we get in our mind, in the heads. You don't exactly know all the city. You don't seeing, but you have a vision in your head. You understand what the city look like, where's the everything. You get in the head. So that's the kind of we meditating. Then after that, the called seeing part, you really see your mind nature. It's called seeing part. Then we meditation part, and then you completely, realize it's Buddhahood. We get Buddhahood. So that is followed by 4 different levels path. The first one is accumulation merit part, engaging part, seeing part, and the meditation part, and the non-learning part. So that's called 5 part. Okay, they're followed by the 10 level premise. 10 level premise, 5 part. So that is the Buddhist part. Okay, so now we can leave there tonight. And do you have any questions we can discuss? That topic is so hard. It's short informations. Topic is too big. Short informations. It's not really easy to get in the head. Do you think so?
I've got a few questions for you.
Mm.
Lance asked, do we have free will? The point of free will on slide 389. Does that mean there are no consequences to a permanent singular possessing self-conduct?
I didn't get what is the question. Is to say again?
Do we have free will?
What is free will?
We can make our own decisions, I guess.
How can we make own decision means?
Maybe Lance, can you ask Kempo? Because I don't think I'm asking it right.
Excuse me, what was the reference number on that slide or that page?
389.
389. So if we go back to slide 389. I don't know what page in the book that is, but 389. So it was talking about the purveyor of Buddhism, the one who is continuing to teach and provide the Buddhism. Lord Buddha taught us to abstain from causing harm to others and refuted the existence. He said that there is no existence of a permanent singular, and then it said free will possessing self. So this free will, that the usage of that word, just made me think, well, because I always thought that we do have free will, and that's part of the problem, but it's not a permanent self that we understand. So I just wanted to be clear about this free will, that of what that meant. That our free will is temporary. I guess I'm answering my own question. The free will is whatever degree of free will we have. It's temporary within our phenomenal nature. It's part of our human nature, but it's not absolute. It's not permanent. It's not singular. So really, I answered my own question.
I think maybe it's also referring to how it's all interdependent in a way.
Of course.
Okay, so that is in the second class I will discuss there is the Buddhist tradition, right? To belong to the Buddhist class, one goes for refuge from one's heart in the 3 years, the previous years Buddhism.
Right.
Lord Buddha told us to abstain from causing harm to others and refute others. Okay, so that part is the conduct.
Yes.
And so then it's the other is like the coming is like no, it's going to the view. Refuted the existing of permanent singular. So permanent singular free will possessing self. So that means actually and free is this is okay, existing of a permanent singular free will possessing self. So we don't accept that. That is like main point is that and refuted means like we don't accept, right? Refuted means,
Correct.
yes?
Yes.
Okay, so then in this, what we refute to the Buddhists, the existing of permanent singular free will possessing self. Who accept that? The non-Buddhists accept that.
Right.
Buddhists, we don't accept that.
Right.
Yeah. So their independent self, free means a free independent self. So they accept like that kind of self permanent. We don't accept that. Buddhists refuted that. Buddhist means like that is a generally Buddhist view.
Yes, I see that now. I was a little confused. When I read it out loud, then I got the meaning of it.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, next question. Chai Mudri asks, if there is no sense, if there's no self, how can there be another?
Yeah, we don't have other because we don't have a self. How can you have other? That's correct.
Okay. Naomi asks, how should Buddhists respond to what is happening now in America regarding racial justice? The Dalai Lama condemned the racist murder of George Floyd in his introduction to the Shinrezi empowerment.
That is ignorance, ignorance. Self and ignorance. That's why these problems. You know, all human being, we have ignorance, you see. Even this racist is ignorance, but then also this violence also ignorance. Everything is ignorance and self.
Yes.
So people don't follow it's no harming for others.
Well, I attended protests, and when I was at the protests, I did Tonglen practice and also internal mantra practice at the protests. And I thought, I don't know, would you recommend that?
So the protest is like you do the peace protest is great.
Yeah.
If long as you have a like good motivation, you can do peace protest. But people don't stay at that peace protest because everyone has emotions. Not everyone is like agenda is peace protest. They have something different. They're not some people not for the protest for races. Some people just want to create a problem. That's why it's problems.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
but there are a couple of things happening. Like, well, one thing is, I think if I do internal recitation of Om Mani Padme Hum or Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha, internal recitation, I think that can help with peacefulness. And then another thing is that actually there are police actually breaking windows and causing problems to make it look like the protesters are violent when the protesters are not actually doing those things. So there are things like that happening.
Oh, I don't know that anything.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's like always like just it's ignorant and the emotions. So that's the problems. And human beings never get learn. Okay, they don't get anything. Always get problems. We knows problem. We're going into the problem.
Yeah.
Same is like we have a bug. Bug is like you put in the butter lump, and this bug is just knows they're going into the butter lump die. The bond there. So same like that. Ignorance. That is the ignorance. Based on the ignorance.
Yeah.
Everyone create ignorance, then create problems.
And sometimes we know that if we go into the butter lamp, we'll die. But maybe I think, well, I'll die to protect my friends, Like I'll offer my body to protect other bodies around me. maybe sometimes we're willing to do that.
I don't know. I don't know anything. Different situations, you know. I cannot give you any answer that I don't know anything. What going on, you know. So, example, like I say, I'm going to protect somebody. I'm going to fight someone. I protect. Okay, someone care me. Who care me? That person also get suffering, going to jail. See, that's also created. There's so many going on. You
Yeah.
know, always
Yeah.
causes the conditions. We don't know what is going on.
Right.
That's all. It's
Yeah, I mean,
interdependent.
I
That is
didn't
not
do that. I
nothing is
mean, I went
permanent.
to the protest and chanted mantra. And
Yeah.
did
So
internal
you did a good job. Okay.
but but I just, you know, I don't know, I think it's important to stand
If
up for
protest
things,
is
you know.
actually protest means like you need no emotion protest.
Right.
That is great.
Yeah.
No emotion protest because you have to show for what going on people. That's people wanted to
Right.
give information, but people that don't do. When they come in the protest, there is already emotion.
I told my friends that I think a lot of
Emotion,
people,
then emotion
right.
destroy ourselves, destroy others too. You know, no one is winner.
Yeah, I told my friends that I thought protest was a joyful thing because we're all coming together to support a world that we want and that we believe in. And, you know, a lot of people think you have to be angry at a protest, but I think you can be joyful at a protest. So,
Yeah, that's good.
so I
Good view. I wish your protest is your view. Okay.
Okay. Sandra asked, consciousness plus red and white combine to make the human being. In this way, one is interdependent. What is the interdependence of the mind stream without a body? The parts of the mind stream are the 6 or 8 types of consciousness, red and white essence of our parents.
I didn't get it. Can you say again? Sorry.
Sandra, do you want to go ahead and ask? Because you can break it up better than I can.
Yes, yeah, you can say that.
I was just trying to ask, what are the interdependent parts of our mind stream when we're not in a body? Maybe when we're in the bardo, what makes us, what is the dependent and interdependent parts of our consciousness at that point?
That point is actually you really into the interdependent absolute truth. Means no, how to say this? You interdependent is like, okay, your thing is like connect to like this to each other, right? Yeah, to like this is interdependent, right? It's I have a right hand and the left hand, yeah. So then actually no, this one right hand cannot have a left hand, right? We cannot say left, right and the left means like dependent each other. So okay, so the reality actually these both hands no exist because interdependent. Then that's like thing about mind absolute truth, the emptiness. That's why it's like no exist there. So your thinking is like causes of conditions, relative truth. Thinking about the relative truth causes the condition, like right and the hand, right? Absolute truth means like this right and the left both are not exist because without other one you cannot have other one. So that's your question, or?
I think so. So I guess I was in the bardo. You have your real nature, and then the karmic afflictions on top of it.
Yes.
I guess I was thinking like that those are the pieces. I was wondering
Yes.
what the pieces are when you don't have a body, what still are the pieces? But you're just emphasizing that absolute reality, not.
Yeah, this pardo beings like it's this main point is no recognizing, right? It's karma followed by karma. It's a delusion. It's a delusion. So just delusion. Pardo beings is a delusion. That is no truth. When you get in the truth, the delusion is gone. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So then, you're welcome.
Okay. Ryan asked, why did the Buddha's first of the 5 disciples stop following his teachings after Varanasi?
They didn't stop. They follow many ways. Everywhere Buddha, they're also giving lots of teachings. They not only receive there, they receive many teachings. They follow the Buddha. They also take care of monastery. They become abbot. They did a lot of things.
So did they just take that first teaching as the ultimate teaching, kind of beyond the other teachings on emptiness and interdependence? Is that the point there?
No, there actually this we talk about this 4 noble truths that Buddha told. It's like just that is generally he taught in the first one Varanasi, but then he taught lots these basic teachings. So many places, these are the monks following with him everywhere to listening, teaching. Then where the creator, the monastery that the senior monks taking care of that. So Buddha is still following all India everywhere. And so that teaching is like more general teachings. Like that time is mostly monks hear these general teachings. They don't much hear this emptiness teachings at that time. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, second. Interdependence, this is from Ed. Interdependence drives this question. As Buddhism entered various countries and established a foothold, what was the criteria for retaining or discarding existing beliefs? For example, retaining some aspects of Hinduism in India, or retaining some aspects of Bon in Tibet, or retaining aspects of Tao in China.
What is retaining?
Keeping.
Why don't you talk?
Keeping.
Okay, can you explain that? Who is that?
This is Ed.
Okay, Ed, yes.
Yeah, as Buddhism went into Tibet, for example, it encountered Bon, right? The Bon religion. And there's some aspects of Bon that was retained as Buddhism continued. The same thing happened in India. When it went into India, we had Hinduism. And there's Hinduism still has some impacts on Buddhism. And
yes.
likewise in China. When Buddhism went into China, Taoism and Confucianism and even Japan, when it went into Japan,
yes.
I think the Shinto religion had some influence. So who was it that decided that we keep this and we don't keep that?
There's it's the philosopher who bring the Dharma there, they make decisions. That check is like this is part of Dharma, no, similar is Buddha, same is Buddha's teaching. Don't have to get rid of, then just leave, Some is like leave the similar, good for the culture. But the main essence don't change. Yes.
Well,
In the
yeah.
Pema Sambhava, example, Pema Sambhava and this Shinkarakita went to in Tibet. They also, they don't get rid of all the bones, what they has before. There's some just, they change that, you know. It's or the view, conduct, or it's Buddhist, then just kind of doing things. It's some is very similar way, it's bone. They leave that too.
Okay, so in the case of going into Tibet, it was some kind of an agreement with Padmasambhava and the bone, the heads of the bone, whatever, right?
I don't know. They have agreement, but they just that thing is that it's okay to leave. You know, some.
Yeah.
But anyway, this Dharma, that is part of ritual things, not the philosophy. Philosophy is nothing. Cannot do anything other like, you know, and mix up together other religions. Cannot do anything like that. Some ritual things, you know, like how we doing things, like use similar way. Some, but philosophy parts no cannot do that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so that drives another question. Why did we keep some of the rituals then, like the fire ritual? That's
Yeah,
a good
fire,
example.
like fire offerings, like small offering also, like in the Tibet has like longta means like we pray for life. That kind also in Tibet there has bone. Then the Pema Sambhava use that we this Buddhist like use the Buddhist mantra put in the same kind of a different mantra, but the fly is the same, you know. Prayer fly is the same, but mantra is changed.
Okay, I'm still thinking about it. Thank you.
Then there also that this Bone also does a lot of offering things, local spirit things, like, you know, Buddhists also use that kind of like small offering things like similar, but all using prayer, everything is Buddhist.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Oh, you're welcome. Then.
That's all the questions in the chat.
Okay.
Kenpo, this is Ben. I just wanted to say how much I appreciate your teaching today. It is an extremely difficult topic, and please forgive me if I continue to ask you again and again later for the same topic. And your wisdom and teaching today is much, much appreciated. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Today's I thought is the hardest. When we talk Bardo teaching, it's more people easy to understand. Everyone is more engaging. Talk about the philosophy, different this scores is everyone put in the sleeping.
Not everyone.
Kimpola, I have a
Yes.
question. So you talked about the Vaibhashika and Sautantrika sub-schools. And then what can you say about Prasangika? Where does that fit in?
Prasangika?
Yeah.
And another one, what one you say?
You in your text you say there are two sub-schools, Vaibhashika and Sautantrika.
Oh, Sautantrika. Yes.
Yeah.
So can you say again what they were there?
The question is what is Prasangika? Where does Prasangika fit in the schools? Because they talk about Prasangika Madhyamika.
Oh, Prasangika it's Prasangika is Madhyamika. So we didn't make separate. It's Madhyamika.
Ah, okay.
They're just calling different names.
Okay. Thank you.
Kenpo, I'm not sleeping. I'm suffering.
Who is that?
Karen.
You know sleeping, what you did?
I'm suffering.
Oh, really? Why?
It was a long week, but thank you, because I said I got to get to Dharma, because this week I understand to take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So I said I'm going to find Zoom Buddha, and I'm going to receive the teachings.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Then, so now we're going to do dance dedication, okay? Dedication is I'm going to chant the short dedication. Om Zara Sanje Nama Daye Da Yesu Jubo Tuje Jembo Da Yong De Semban De Jen Do Nam Lai Sanje Sansen Pa Mien Ko Ji Ko De Jen Om Zara Ba De Me Ba Ye De Wa Ji Ye Sa Le Jen Gan De Da yin de ne zen bi jur ma da ji wa yin je par mai chu par de re jin ne nan de yar dong yo de ge da ge mo na da ban de so je zan zen dang je je ke me de par sin je la de so di ya da ben zan de ya wa bo de na ye 상조 셈조른보지 마제바난제조지 제바냠바메바야 공내공등배와르요 소남대예 당제지바이 토나님베 라나 반세데 제가 남제 발람 주바 시벤 솔렌 조와 조와르요 기자 근세 근제 지제 템드런엘 원더 디공바 렌제 바제 덴바 젠데 바제도 데상고 젠조르제 Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you, Kempo.
Thank you,
Thank
Kempo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kempo.
Thank you, everyone. Hi, Jane.
Bye.
Oh, Kempo.
Thank you, Kempola.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.